For me, the best part of Haikyuu and Karasuno trying to be known as a powerhouse team again is whenever they come up on somebody talking shit and calling them Flightless Crows. Now we know Karasuno used to be a powerhouse team. They used to be nasty. They went to the Nationals. They had a dude called the Tiny Giant on their team that was spiking on motherfuckers even though he was like 5 foot nothing. In that time though, they fallen off because the coach had retired, so they were kind of scrambling for a long time. But now they're rebuilding. Even though they're rebuilding, they still haven't shaken the nickname of Fallen Champions, and worst of all, the nickname of Flightless Crows or Clipped Crows. Suga, Daichi, and Asahi have been dealing with that the longest, as they're now the third years, and Tanaka remembers when he first heard that shit being talked about Karasuno being Flightless Crows, and he sees their reaction to it. Their reaction's way more subtle, like, hey, you gotta get used to being called that. They're like, yeah, what do they call us again? Fallen Champions, or Flightless Crows, or Clipped Crows, and they start laughing about it. But that look in their eyes, it lets you know they ain't thinking any of this shit funny, and they're out to prove a point. Yo, sometimes you gotta go away to come back, and Karasuno has been away from being a powerhouse for a long time, but they dealt with it way more subtly. They're used to hearing these nicknames, but all the while they've been plotting and planning like, nah, we gon' get our fucking get back, and Tanaka respected that about them. But that's how the third years handle it. When Abe Josai was talking that shit on Karasuno, calling them Flightless Crows, saying, oh, at least they got like a hot team manager though. But they also have one dude that's like a cue ball. He's like a delinquent. Maybe he's a bit like they R-worded him. I love how Tanaka overhears that and then he peeks out from the side like, They be talking that shit, but when the Karasuno shows up, they get real quiet. And then you see the team step out and they're like, stuttering. And Tanaka's like, don't talk shit about my team, bro. And the crow screeches on screen and then we'll eat you alive. And you see all the team behind him. First years behind him like, yeah, what was that shit? Daichi, Suga, and Asahi, they the third years. And they handle shit way subtly. They internalize. These ain't the third years though. They let them know it's a new era now. And Tsukishima is backing Tanaka up like, hey, chill. Look, man, you got these elites shaking and quaking right now. Tanaka's bantering with them like, yeah, you're right. I guess we should save the beef for the court, right? But Joysai's out of lots of words like, like, yo, you were the ones talking that shit though. We here now. It's different now. What's up? And then Daichi runs around the corner like, hey, there y'all are. What are y'all doing? Daichi knows these boys are chopping at the bit. They ready. And he has to make Tanaka apologize like, hey, I'm sorry. We're both sorry. Because they keep it subtle. He can't have these boys wilding out like that. Save it for the court. And then there's a time they're at, I forgot what tournament they're at, but they see a team like, oh, they're Karasuno's here. You know what they're called, right? Like the Fallen Champions or like the Flightless Crows, right? And then the dude looks behind him and you see Karasuno lined up behind him. He's like, hey, maybe you should shut the fuck up right now. And he's like, what? And then Tanaka just appears on the side. I was like, I'm sorry, what were you saying? And he's like, oh. And again, Daichi has to reel him in like, hey, I gotta put a leash on you? Chill. He says, apologize for that. And then walks away, subtle again. I love these two different approaches they have, because one is the younger ones are like, they're fired up. Like, yo, we're gonna prove this shit to you. We'll talk that shit. As opposed to the third years that are like, hey, we'll just prove it on the court. That's why I rock with Karasuno. These boys is ready. Like, yo, we heard you talking that shit. You saying we Flightless Crows now? Nah, baby. We are murderer crows again. And just in case you're wondering where this picture is from, O'Neil Jones drew this for us for our Black Nerd Problems collection of essays book. And the best part about O'Neil Jones' art right here, look at the kicks. Look at the kick. Cold. The book is like, 4 years old? I just noticed this now. But always, my favorite thing about them is I just love how a team is trying to come back from this moniker that was slapped on them. Because Flightless Crows, that's a fucking insult. Like, maybe it was true, maybe it wasn't. A bunch of different factors happened. But these crows didn't stop from working hard in order to make motherfuckers eat crow and let them know, yo, the murder back.